Hi everybody, Silver Starz here. I hope your week's about to start, and I hope it all goes well. Actually, we don't get very excited up here in Canada with much that comes out of our Royal Canadian Mint. For example, you can buy a nice half ounce of silver, a coin. Generally, they're commemorative, and maybe you can pay $150 for that. When you take that same coin back to try and sell it, of course the mint won't take them back, so you have to go to a dealer, and the dealer will give you a spot. So that $150 coin you paid for, you might get $8. It's half ounce, right? So we don't get very excited up here in Canada with regards to much that comes out of the Royal Canadian Mint. Thus the focus generally on maple leaves as the government bullion coin. But get this, now they've come out with, and there's further confusion which I'll have to explain later, and again the Royal Canadian Mint is in full form. But so this is a new release. I just got it. I'm not big on new releases. I'm certainly not big on premiums, but with the confusion that has come out of this coin, I've decided to, I picked up a tube. Tube comes 14 pieces, as these are 2 ounces each of 4/9 fine silver. But in February 2020, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, now that's kind of like our police, a federal country, entire country police force. They are everywhere in Canada, and but in 2020 in February, the will mark 100 years of service to the provinces of Canada. It is a federal and national police force of Canada, was formed on February 1st, 1920. Now, what makes this rather interesting is the Royal Canadian Mint will honor the century of service with this beautiful, this coin, and capture the image of the Mounties and the reigning British monarch of the era, which happens to be, let's have a look at our that time, and please focus, behave yourself. Is that focusing at all, everybody? Let's move in a bit and see what I can get. I'd like you to really see this close up. Come on. Why won't it focus? There it is. It's sort of focusing. That happens to be King George V. And you see him there in all of his glory. Did that focus up good, I hope? I guess I'll have to check it later. It's hard to see through these cameras. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer. It's supposed to be autofocus. Do you see any autofocus in that? Anyways, there we go. Might be a little bit closer. So, that's our King George on the back there. Let's move in like this. Okay. So, in any case, so they've come out with this coin, the Royal Canadian Mint, with King George V on the back, who was the reigning monarch of England, because England ruled Canada in 1920. So it did not have its own constitution yet, which happened, as we know, in 1967. And so they've come out with this coin, and actually it's a very, very cool coin. Let me proceed onward. There are 2 ounces, and the coin is brilliant uncirculated condition. Now, these aren't available through the Royal Canadian Mint. They must be purchased through dealers, which of course they put their markup on, and et cetera, et cetera. I wish the Mint sold them, but it doesn't appear as though they are. Now, this comes to further confusion. Let me proceed on. Royal Canadian Mint, of course. So with this, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police are actually, oops, what happened here? Sorry, I apologize for that. Almost lost my camera, I think. But the Royal Canadian Mint is in every province in Canada. Now on the reverse, as I mentioned, it has the Mountie on a horseback. He's with a unit or squadron. Now the flag hoisted is on a spear. There's the flag that he's actually holding a spear. They would lower that in combat, and they would use it kind of as jousting. But it is definitely a spear, and the flag on the top would be his regiment. And the Mounties still use horses today. Generally speaking, it's more for ceremonial. But I can remember as a very young child, our parents, we'd go to the fair, say the annual fair in the city, and then we would go to the Royal Canadian Mounted musical rides, and they would have the Mounties would all be on horseback, and they would do a number of rides to music, quite exciting, very, very colorful, and actually very Canadian. This is a bit surprising because Canada doesn't have a whole lot to offer that we can say is really Canadian. But the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, well, we can't get much more Canadian than that. Definitely I remember seeing the Mounties as a child, so it brings back a lot of good memories. Now, King George, which he's over here, of course. King George, he was the reigning monarch of England. He was in 1910. Sorry, 1920, not 1910, 1920. King George V was the King of England for nearly 10 years at the time of the force's founding, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So he did have some discussions involved in this, in setting up this sort of mounted police force. Now, what gets interesting is his son, Edward VIII, briefly succeeded him, but Edward VIII would quickly advocate the throne in favor of his brother, George VI. So it went from 8 to 6. I think they had kind of an argument there where George VI said, well, hey, if you're Edward VIII, why am I not going next? So it was kind of a big mess up there. But anyways, King George VI, and King George VI was the father of the current Queen Elizabeth II. So that's getting kind of interesting there. So it's all puts things into perspective. Now, the confusion. Here's where the confusion comes in, where it gets quite interesting. Canada kind of rules of minting are, some people are calling this a commemorative coin. Okay, it does commemorate the anniversary of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, 100 years. But here's where the problem lies. Whenever Canada has produced a commemorative coin, the monarch has no crown. So you can look at the 1958 coin with a British Columbia commemorative coin of 100 years of being in Canada as the province of British Columbia. Queen Elizabeth, she has no crown. So if you go back to, I believe, 1939, King George there, the commemorative coin, 1939, which has, I think is the second commemorative coin ever minted in Canada. King George there has no crown. It's a commemorative coin. So suddenly, our king here, okay, he has a crown, which makes this not a commemorative coin. So this has gotten very confusing here to see this particular minting with a crown, because if it is commemorative, he should not have a crown. Let me just turn it to show a little bit the side again. I'm just not a focusing friendly person, am I? King. There you see George V. So he has a crown on. So this doesn't make it actually a commemorative coin. This would make it a coin. If you look on the back of the maple leaf, the Queen always has a crown on. It is not a commemorative. It is a coin. So they're calling this a commemorative coin. But technically, if they go by the Royal Canadian Mint's own rules, it is a coin. So I don't know if they're going to change that even. It comes with the radial lines. You can't really see it, of course, with my lovely focusing techniques, but there's radial lines all around the face of the coin. And also it has the little DNA mark there, which is a maple leaf, which I know is probably impossible to see. Again, sorry, I really apologize for my focusing. But and it has a number 20 inside. It's very, very small. You can see it with your loupe. Maybe younger people can just see it without a loupe. I don't know. But so this is our latest commemorative or coin, I guess, depending on what we think about. But I think it's very cool. And so I picked up a whole tube of these. If anyone would like to purchase this coin from me, please get in touch with me, and we'll get a price and work out the shipping or something like that. I'm not in this as a business. If you're real keen on having this coin in your collection, then let me. I'd be really happy and honored to see that happen. I'm going to buy more, as a matter of fact. This is gorgeous. It's 2 ounces. It has a bit of a premium, so it's about a $10 premium over spot for this particular coin. So we're looking at around $50. Yeah, it's about 50, a little bit more than 50. Probably about 55. But in any case, it's whatever the spot price is. Silver's up and down. So we'll work it out at that time so that everybody's happy. I'm not. This is not my business. So please, the pandas I had in the past, they all sold. The Franklins all sold. So all the key dates sold. Wow, that was great. One person took all the key dates. So if you're interested, let me know. If you're otherwise, I hope I've been able to shed some light and show this beautiful new coin, as I'm not a person that would have very many new mintages of coins to show. Thank you. I've had a lot of fun with this. I have done a lot of research on it, especially the crown, no crown for commemorative or crown for coin. So whether some people call it a commemorative, well, okay, it somewhat is. Whether they call it a coin, somewhat is. So we've never really had a commemorative coin in Canada. So this is, again, where all the confusion is coming in. So in any case, maybe they'll change it. Maybe we'll get it reminted with his crown off. That would make this almost incredibly rare. So I don't know what's going to happen, trust me. So if you enjoyed this, I really want to say thank you. Number one, I'm almost at 140 subscribers. I never dreamed that I would get 140 subscribers. I really thank each and every one of you. If you're new and you've enjoyed this or learned something or are getting some information on Canadian coins that you didn't know, please, could you subscribe? I appreciate and thank you in advance. Like the video. That will help my, I guess, they kind of a rating on YouTube and all that, how it's working now. And if you can share it, appreciate that too. Also, comments are always accepted, so please make some comments on this commemorative / coin, no commemoration, coin, commemorative, whatever. So I guess they're covering all bases anyways at the end of the day. Thanks again, and have a wonderful week.